Field, I can't record the episode today. I can't
Why?
record it. I can't find my whoopee. I can't find my whoopee. If I don't have my whoopee, I can't do the episode. I need my whoopee. You got my whoopee? I need my whoopee.
This is Mr. Mom.
Whoopee.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to Forgotten Cinema. Each episode, we highlight a film that for some reason was forgotten by audiences, whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time or the film simply didn't catch on with audiences in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. You never know, you might find your own forgotten gem. If you enjoy Forgotten Cinema, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We're available on all podcast platforms and YouTube with a backlog of over 250 episodes for your listening pleasure.
What's going on, Michael Butler?
Nothing. I got fired or furloughed from my job, so I had to stay home with the kids. My wife went and got a better high-paying job, so, I'm trying to do the best I can, but I'm really in over my head taking care of 3 kids, and my vacuum cleaner is trying to kill me. It's insane.
Well, in today's age, that's completely respectable and understandable. But in the 80s, that's just garbage. We're talking about Mr. Mom, the 1983 comedy that, like I said, it was garbage. No, I'm just kidding. So let me get into the synopsis, then we'll get into the facts, and then we'll get into the movie and all that fun stuff. During the 1980s recession, well, that's not fun, automobile engineer Jack is fired from his job. When his wife Caroline finds a job before he does, they switch roles, placing him in the unfamiliar position of homemaker and caretaker to their 3 children. He embarks upon a series of misadventures, from navigating grocery store trips to playing poker games with housewives. Jack and Caroline must figure out the intricacies of their new roles while maintaining their relationship. Sounds like a plot to a TV show. Which was a spinoff of a TV show after this movie. Did you not know that?
But very recently, right?
No, like the year after this film came out.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew there was like a voodoo show that didn't last long at all.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. I did not know there was a spinoff TV show that came out of this.
Well, I mean, this was produced by Aaron Spelling. So, and I think it was.
So he used this as a backdoor for a TV pilot?
The note I saw was that he wanted to have he wanted a movie that he could bring the family to, and that's why they did this. But then I think it was envisioned like, oh, this could be a backdoor pilot, because a lot of times, sometimes some movies were done like they were backdoor pilots,
right? Yeah.
To TV shows.
We talked about earlier that I thought Source Code kind of ended like a backdoor pilot for sure. Yeah,
right. I mean, it's a premise that I think you can. I don't really know if you can even revisit this premise unless you put it in the 80s.
I mean, you could revisit it, but it's just not going to be very okay.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be like, yawn.
Okay, that's true, I guess. Let's get into the facts and let's get into the movie. Mr. Mom has a runtime of 91 minutes. We like that. Rated PG. Production budget of $5 million. It came out on a Friday. I should reference that. It has a lot of release dates. It has a limited release date of July 22nd, 1983, but that was like 126 screens and it did 947,000. We're not going to count that. We're not going to use that in terms of our release date. We're going by the wide release date, which was August 19th, 1983.
That makes more sense to be an August movie for this.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Right before school starts.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yep. Opening weekend, that weekend, it did 4.2 million. Domestic 64.8, and then there was no international number, so its worldwide total was 64.8 million. Production company was Sherwood Productions and distributed by 20th Century Fox. So I said it came out on the 19th. In terms of the date we're doing, let's go back a week to the 12th of August. You had in a wide release Cujo, The Man Who Wasn't There, and Curse of the Pink Panther, and the limited release of Smokey and the Bandit Part 3. Does not have Burt Reynolds in it, FYI.
I did not think I'd have seen any of those movies that you were going to list, and I've seen most of those movies that you listed.
Nice.
Not Smokey and the Bandit 3.
Maybe you saw the movie that it came out that Mr. Mom went up against on the 19th. You're the Hunter from the future, excuse me.
No, but I kind of want to. What's that
about? I have no idea.
Is it cheesy early 80s sci-fi? I'm in.
What I gather is that it's about a person named Yor, and he's a hunter from the future. That's all I know. Also, you had Easy Money, the Rodney Dangerfield movie, which you probably never saw as well.
I think I did see that. Which one is that one?
That's the one where he's rich. And
I don't think there are many.
I don't know. You know who knows is our friend Cerami.
Because
He's a big time easy money
Dangerfield.
guy. Yeah.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah. The week after the 26th of August, you had a wide release of Hercules, Strange Brew, and Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared Sin. Yeah. Good luck with that. Yeah. No idea what
I know
that's
Strange
about.
Brew.
Of course. I mean, I think most people who are familiar with comedy from the 80s know Strange Brew. Yeah.
There's way more movies that came out that I know. I really thought I wouldn't know any of those movies.
I'm looking up the Easy Money synopsis because it's bothering me.
That you don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I should know this. Let's see. Degenerate Monty Capuletti, who's Rodney Dangerfield, perfectly content spending his life drinking, smoking, and gambling with other layabout buddies. His wealthy mother-in-law has long disapproved, blah, blah, blah. She dies and leaves him $10 million in her will, but there's a catch. He has to change his life and live vice-free for 1 year in order to collect the money. There you go. That's what it is. Yep. Good stuff. Easy Money. Go check it out. But we're talking about Mr. Mom. This movie was directed by Stan Dragati, who's done The Man with One Red Shoe and Necessary Roughness. Nobody? Sinbad, Necessary Roughness, Scott Bakula.
Okay. Yep.
Written by John Hughes. Hey, John Hughes wrote this film. Who, I mean, we all know who John Hughes is. Yes. He's written Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors, amongst most of the comedies, most of the Brat Pack comedies that you might have seen in the 80s. He is part of that.
Which we talked about. I have to see The Great Outdoors.
What's up?
Which we talked about earlier.
Yes, you do have to see The Great Outdoors. Fun fact about this film. This film's success got John Hughes a 3-picture deal with a 3-picture deal for because of this movie, which he got paid $30 million for 3 films.
30 million?
Yes.
That's a ton back then.
Those 3 films that he ended up making were 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, and Weird Science.
That's $30 million well spent.
Exactly what I was thinking. But also this, because you could probably, I mean, I'm not going to say this film made John Hughes, but it did kind of
propel him.
Yeah. Cinematographer was Victor Kemper, who's done Clue, an episode we did. Mm-hmm. The Final Countdown, an episode we did. And Dog Day Afternoon, we did not do that. Composer was Lee Holdridge, who's done Splash, Old Gringo, and Transylvania 65000.
I'm shocked you didn't start shouting Gattaca.
What?
Attica or whatever. Isn't that Dog Day Afternoon where he's like, Attica?
Yeah.
I'm shocked you didn't start screaming that after you said the movie.
I should have. I'm sorry.
So that's... Come on.
That's a
you gotta stay on brand there.
That's a lost connection right there. Patrick Kennedy was our editor. He's done Airplane, Major Payne, and BAPS. Do you know what BAPS stands for?
No.
Oh, I knew it. Black American Princesses.
Okay.
Producer was Lynn Loring and Lauren Schuler Donner. Excuse me. Obviously, I said Aaron Spelling before. Loring has done Me and the Child and the TV show Glitter, and Lauren Schuler Donner has done Maverick, Logan, probably all of Richard Donner film. That was his wife.
I noticed in the movie though, they don't have the Donner on her title, though, do they?
No, they don't, because they're not. I don't believe they're not married at that point.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because it was the first time I did see the Donner. Go, isn't there supposed to be a Donner at the end of that?
Most credits that I do when we do these are the credits now.
How they are now, yeah.
Then.
But I think that was the first time I ever saw her name without the Donner on it. I was like, interesting.
So before they met or before they were betrothed. Michael Keaton's in this film. He plays Jack. This is probably Michael Keaton's.
Jack what? Jack Butler.
There we go. I purposely didn't put that in there. This is his first lead role, I think. Yeah, this is
definitely
a big break. He was nominated for an Oscar for Birdman. He's also in Spotlight. He's Batman. He's in The Founder. He's in a ton of stuff. Beetlejuice. Terry Garr as Caroline, his wife. Sorry. She was nominated for an Oscar for Tootsie. She's in Young Frankenstein, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Frederick Kohler as Alex, one of the sons, the older son, and then Taliesin Jaffe as Kenny, the younger son. Kohler has been in he's in all the Death Race series movies.
Really?
Yeah, he's in like all 4 of them. He's also the child in Kate and Allie, the TV show, for those who remember that show. Jaffe, who plays Kenny, is in 2010 Explorers and the TV show Critical Role. I believe that's a Canadian show, but he's in that. There's like over 100-something episodes of
Critical
that one.
Role?
Yeah.
Is a Dungeons and Dragons.
Is it? Oh,
show.
Tell me. Oh, there you go then.
They do Dungeons and Dragons. They're all like voice actors and they do a bunch of stuff.
There you go.
I've only seen clips, but it seems kind of funny.
All right. Now you know.
Because they're all like comedian actors doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Martin Mull is Ron Richardson, TV show. He's in the movie Clue. An episode we did.
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard from, yes, that's right. He's also in the TV show Roseanne and the movie Jingle All the Way. I don't remember what part in Jingle All the Way he is.
Me neither.
Yeah. And Jillian as Joan, the woman that is kind of hitting on Jack throughout the film.
Kind of.
She's in Babes in Toyland in Mae West. Jeffrey Tambor, as my wife said, did he ever have hair when we watched this movie? Plays Jinx Latham through TV shows Transparent, Arrested Development, and the movie Death of Stalin. Again, Butler, I'm going to tell you to watch the Death of Stalin. It's funny. Christopher Lloyd is in there for a little bit. He plays one of the Jack's friends, Larry.
Tries to kill Jeffrey Tambor. It's pretty funny.
From a little movie called Back to the Future, TV show Taxi. Then you have a bunch of other people, which I think we're good. I mean, we can get to them if you want to, but I've got them here, but we're good. I think. Butler, you saw this film, correct?
Oh yeah,
already.
I grew up watching this film.
Oh, okay. So
I haven't seen it in quite some time, probably since I was younger, but yeah.
So is it safe to assume that you've always liked this film?
I did always like this film, but it was a film. My mother loves this film.
Sure.
My father likes this film. My mother actually calls my father her Whoopi because of this film.
All right. Okay. This is not that type of podcast. Okay, pal.
So like I grew up with this film like on TV. My parents watched it a lot, but like as a kid, there were some scenes I thought were really funny, but a lot of stuff obviously just escaped me. So there's watching it now as an adult. There's a lot more comedy that I actually get and understand.
Right.
That works for me.
Do you think the difference between me and you, as obviously I have 3 kids, do you think there's a difference? Like, do you think I experience it different than you experience it?
Almost certainly. I think I experience it as an adult and I can kind of relate to it.
Sure.
But not as much as maybe you can relate to it.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, like, I mean, it was never that messy when they were younger. Like,
right.
The kid, I mean, it was messy, but it was never that messy.
I mean, obviously it's over the top. Right.
But also, quite honestly, like, it's so 80s that it more reminds me of my youth, like what I was used to growing up, not raising my children now. Do you know what I mean?
What's funny is, like, I was born obviously after you.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff they have as kids, I was like, I had that.
Yeah.
I had that.
Yeah.
I think the pre-internet age was just like, and like post like 50s, 60s, like there's a lot of stuff that just stayed around for 20, 30 years. And I was just like, I had that. I remember that. Or my brother was in that. The walking thing that the daughter's in. I was like,
which is illegal now.
Yeah. My brother had that exact one.
That is not, you can't have that anymore.
I didn't know that. I did notice that you don't see those around
illegal
anymore.
Because they could just go right down the stairs with it if you don't have a gate up.
That's right. I mean, can't they just go right down the stairs?
I mean, it's
regardless?
effective, but yeah, we were watching that. Jody's watching them. She's like, "Those are illegal now." I go, "There's a lot of." I think she's made like 5 or 6 comments, and I was like, "It's the 80s."
What I do like is this is true 80s. Everything's so brown and beige. It's like. That's the 80s when people watch Stranger Things and it's all bright and colorful. It's like that was like 1 year and everything was this color.
And there's definitely like they kind of mention it because she does go work for Caroline goes to work for an ad agency and they're talking about Schooner Tune and all that stuff and they talk about the consumerism a little bit, but like the 80s is just all about consumerism. It's all about selling to middle America and like so. Their house is almost, that's what it looks like. Just like you consume and consume and consume. And this is what you get. You get crap in your house. You get stuff everywhere.
Yep.
No, it's, that's a wild time. Days. So my question, because I know it all started off where I said like, have you always like this?
Yeah.
I'm curious if anything changed for you in this watch.
I mean, obviously, like I said, I know the jokes better. I get the story better. So I think I like this more this watch.
Okay.
I found it like we talk about relatable, and obviously I went from working a job where I was kind of there 6 days a week, 5 days a week, but working like a ton, coming home at weird hours because it was a day and night job, to like being freelance now. So I'm home a lot more. Mm-hmm. So I kind of understood that kind of transition of like setting your time right, like understanding like.
We both experienced that.
You did as well,
for during COVID.
During COVID, which I think maybe almost a lot of people did. So like I get that part, and the fact that like the one thing I noticed was, although yes, the movie does treat of like Mr. Mom, you're a stay-at-home dad, and it's not as big of an issue nowadays. They don't treat it as, there's not as much overt like sexism in there as I thought there was going to be, of like treating it like that or treating it as a joke. They like right off the bat they treat it like it's a job, it's tough, you've got to work hard at it.
Well, I think the synopsis kind of lets you know like the economy stunk, and the economy we're like, it's 83, so I'm trying to remember when the gas crisis was. It was late 70s. mid to late 70s. But you're like only a couple years removed from that. You're like, there's people getting laid off left and right. The whole scene where he is in the room looking for the job with the two guys and they're sharing the recipe.
Oh, the recipe for
and they're like, don't worry, man, this is the only job around. Like they're all laughing because
there's no jobs anyway.
Right, exactly. Like I think that was a reality to the point where you don't have time to be chauvinistic or misogynistic or like judgmental about people.
Someone's just
trying to
figure
figure it out. Right. So I think that's I mean, I'm glad I didn't have to experience that in terms of I was a kid, so I had no idea,
Right.
you know, but like, yeah, I think that you just don't have time for that nonsense when you're just trying. I mean, at the end of the day, like when you lose your job or when you're freelancing, you're struggling, it's like, you're trying to make, it's like, I got to make money. I just got, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
enough's enough. I can't just be mopey. I can't whine. I can't worry about things. I got to make money and take care of my family. And I think that's in this movie, like obviously, I mean, it's a little real easy for Caroline to get that job, but that's part of the movie.
These bets are $100 too. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
was like, "Hey, this $100. I'm betting mom." I do like when his mommy is like, "Can I hold the dollar?" Yeah, absolutely. You hold the.
Well, when they do the ad campaign, jumping forward a little bit, when they sell the ad campaign just for Schooner Tuna, it's an $11 million ad campaign. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot back then. Yeah, I think that I always like this film. I always laugh at the same jokes. I mean, I kept screwing up the same stupid joke line, which I like the way I say it better. So, but we'll get to it. So there is not much that I don't like about this film. I don't think there is. I mean, there's no big hard plot here. It's just a comedy of.
It's just him going through it, and then it wraps up real.
It's
quick.
It's meant to be, you know, a snapshot of a middle America family dealing with what we all dealt with during the time. And I think it's just, and it's played for laughs, and it's to kind of show you know, the Keaton character Jack, who being humbled and stuff like that, and trying to like get himself back to it. Like he lets himself go, and then he's like, enough's enough. Like, so, you know, the bored housewives and stuff like that, and just
betting coupons. I like that.
Yeah. I think it's just a film that is, I mean, it is definitely a film of the time, but I think this film still works.
That's the one thing as soon as at least actually watched this film with me without falling asleep too much. And as soon as the film ended, I was like, this film works surprisingly well, even still now. And she's like, yeah.
There's like, so when he goes to the kid drop off and pick up. So when he goes and he doesn't, he's like, I'm going my way. And you hear the woman's like, stop the drop off, moron. I'm going to tell you right now, that still happens now. There are people still now who do not know how to do drop off and pick up. And I have been in line with picking up my kids or dropping them off when they were younger. And I have sat there and yelled in the car at people because they are so stupid. Not that they're so dumb. They just don't think the rules apply to them. And like, they don't want to follow what everyone else is following when we get in line. So that nonsense still happens. And if you're out there and you're listening to me and you're like, I never experienced that, you're the problem. You're the one that's not listening. You need to listen, because there's a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. So even 40 years ago, this film is like still hitting on points that happens now. So yeah, that's my thing. How dare you? How about, remember TV Repairman, Butler?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like
$45, no, $55 an hour.
Repair people because it was a woman.
Woman,
But
yeah.
yeah. But you know, you got a problem with your horizontal. I would never think about calling a TV repairman. Now it's your motherboard's bad. You're probably gonna have to bring it in, or you're gonna
Yeah, now it's all computers.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like never.
Found your problem. Shoo. Those kids.
But yeah, so you know, or the pilot light. I'm here to adjust your pilot and the water heater. What? Like you can't. Number one, you can't do that yourself. Like whoop over my head. I have no idea.
I have no idea. I do like the washing machine. When he's loading the washing machine, you're just like, no, stop.
Oh, he's like trying to figure out that
he's making this weird laundry concoction.
Let's cut a few steps here. Yeah,
let's put some Clorox too, some borax in it, just for good measure. We're gonna spray some Windex in.
I mean, it's funny, but like, you know, somebody's done that. You know, somebody's
I'm
like,
sure.
oh, this will be extra.
And it's so much. It's so much in that cup.
Yeah, I know. And it's such an old. I mean, again, it's an old washer.
Old
it's the 80s,
brown 80s.
That has to be like a washer from the 70s. Like that's just, you know, sitting there. So Keaton turned down Splash to do this film. And the only reason I bring it up is because Ron Howard was going to direct this film, but he turned it down to direct Splash.
Hey.
So I mean, I think both probably made the right choice. I think Keaton definitely made the right choice. He should have. I mean, I'm assuming they asked him to splash the Tom Hanks character. Like
That's what I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Splash since I was a little kid, so I don't really remember much of it.
Splash
but I know that
Splash is a little problematic.
I've heard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole idea is that he has her for one weekend and they're just always doing it the whole weekend, and like she can't leave the apartment. It's like, okay, pal, come. Like it's a little problematic there, but yeah, because when you're thinking about like, wait a minute, he's just locked in the apartment and they're just having sex all the time. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay. So yeah.
But I know that it was popular back then, but it's definitely not the movie that made Tom Hanks's career. Whereas we just talked about how like Mr. Mom is kind of the movie that made Michael Keaton's career.
Well, what do you think? What movie made Tom Hanks's career? I'm curious.
Well, he was in
here. Sorry,
probably the TV show he was in started it.
Oh, Bosom Buddies.
Yeah, so okay. I mean, that kind of started. So we already had a little bit of star power going into it.
Sure.
Then when was Big? Before or after Splash? I thought Big was before.
Big was 80. Oh my goodness. I want to say 88.
Big is 88.
Oh,
very good. You're on fire with that today. I think you've only gotten one wrong.
Nice. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. Yeah, because Splash is 84, right? 84, 85. It's got to be if they're shooting at the same time. It's got to be at least 84, 85.
Splash is 83.
Damn it, Michael. You had it. You were so close, like Icarus. You got too close to the sun. You melted. Look it up, kids. Oh, God. Anyways. Would you have liked this film if Chevy Chase was in it?
No.
Michael Douglas?
No.
John Travolta?
Maybe.
Steve Martin?
Yes.
Yes, they were all considered.
Chevy Chase, just because he's already in the National Lampoon's movie, the vacation movies. Right. I don't know if I need to see him as another dad. That's like stay at home.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I think he's because with the vacation films, he's got that level of anger, like that scary anger. I think that works there for Clint Griswold. I would say that I would like Steve Martin in this role, but I think Steve Martin is much better in Parenthood, and because I think Steve Martin, and I'm not saying Michael
I was gonna say he does play another dad in Parenthood, but Parenthood came after this.
Yeah, but like I'm saying like I'm not saying Michael Keaton can't get to this serious side of it, but I like when Steve Martin gets to like the dramatic side of it and things and stuff like that. The whole stuff with him and his father and all that stuff in that movie. I really like Parenthood. But yeah, I thought Steve Martin too, the same thing, because they were all considered for the role.
John Travolta's really good in Look Who's Talking. It has that kind of parental comedy chops. So I think he could probably do it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But Keaton, this role's made for Keaton.
We talked about John Hughes before. John Hughes, excuse me. He was going to direct this film, but he turned it down because he likes to direct in Chicago instead of LA. So he didn't want to do it. So he was just like, nah, forget it.
Because it's not set in Chicago?
Well, because he would shoot it in Chicago. That's what he wanted. And they were like, no, we're going to shoot in LA.
Chicago would make more sense closer to Detroit than LA.
That's what I'm saying. Do they live in the suburbs of Detroit? Is that what we're saying here?
Yep.
Okay.
You see license plate of Detroit. He's got the Detroit Lions. Plus the car manufacturer. It's Detroit.
Okay. That's what I thought. Oh, you're right. That's right. He's wearing the right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Because I think what threw me off was when he comes home when he's kidnapped by the housewives and they take him to the strip joint, and he comes home. They're like, oh, let's call mommy. And that's when he calls and he gets Ron Richardson. Like he's in the
hotel.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's only 8:30 there. I'm thinking they're 3 hours ahead. I'm not like, just because East Coast, but it's obviously just 1 hour ahead. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So yeah. Good stuff.
Right.
Did you notice in the grocery store that Jack is the only male shopper in the grocery store in that scene?
I didn't. I'm not surprised to hear that, but I did not notice that.
Interesting.
Oh, I know. Like, how are you that bad at grocery shopping? That's kind of what that I thought that was a little ridiculous. Like, guys would still know how to go grocery shopping.
Mike,
if it was a 1950s movie, maybe
he's going to work 80s. He's going to work for 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. He probably has no idea what goes on during the day.
They're never like, hey man, we got to pick up some mayonnaise, or I forgot to get this. You got to go to the supermarket.
Probably lost
on Saturday.
He's probably. Sunday. I mean, there's people now that are lost at certain things. They don't do so if they don't have.
There's some supermarkets I don't like walking into. I'll give you that.
What did you think of the race? The scene where he has.
I love the race.
Okay.
They're playing Chariots of Fire and they're running around. he knows he's so fed up with the other guy, Martin
Richardson.
Mull's character, that he's like, I gotta beat him. And the guys are like, no, he always wins every year. Don't worry about it. Why? Why does he always win? He's the boss.
Yeah, and they're trying to stop him.
They're trying to stop him the whole time. And then he realizes last minute, like, oh no, the wife's like, what's he doing?
He's
winning. But he takes the fall.
Yeah. So what did you think about when the scene when Richardson basically gets himself into the hotel room with Caroline? Like, my note was like, he is going hard to the lane here. Like it is an aggressive approach.
I thought the same thing. I was like this is pretty rapey. Like, this is just kind of like, why are you doing this? Like, this, did you really think this move's going to work? But then he does say later that she's like, you drunk, aren't you? Oh yeah. You've had a few drinks, a lot of drinks. I've had a lot of drinks. So it's like, clearly he's not thinking. He's not thinking.
And
right,
then like that's like maybe 5-10 minutes before the end of the film. And he shows up. Oh, I apologize. And she hit me. She socked me. And then like he goes off and starts talking to the repairwoman. I'm like, what?
It's him and the repairwoman after this.
I guess
the end of the movie is very like, we got to wrap this up. The end of the movie is very, I came home. Oh, get out of my house. What's her face? And then all right. I want her back. Come back to the thing. I'm sorry. Sorry you hit me. No, I don't like this job. We're going to get another job. Jeffrey Tambor's like, we're going to offer you your job back. And it's like, how lucky is this to all wrap up in these last 5 seconds?
The TV repairwoman tosses out, how about 3 days at home, 2 days in the office? And I'm like, oh, hybrid work in the 80s?
I thought the same thing. I was like, work from home.
I was like, whoa. But I was also questioned with, my question was, okay, so are we both staying with the job here? Is someone it
looks like they're both getting jobs at the or she's going back to being a housewife and all is right in the world in the 80s.
Well, I mean, yeah, damn right.
You're gonna have to finish painting that kitchen though, or the dining room. I do like when she goes into her bedroom. She's like, "What are you doing in my bedroom?" This is my bedroom.
I felt like the Jones stuff didn't need to be wrapped up at the end. I felt like that's just he's basically saying he's basically not going to do anything.
At the end, he decides not to.
No. I meant even before that. It's clear he has no interest. He's not going to. There's no like pull for him to do.
Sure,
this.
He's just like, ugh.
And I feel like this. I don't know why. Like they have it at the end, and it's funny because then she approaches him. Excuse me, not she. Caroline approaches her and is like, "Get out of my house or get in my bedroom" and stuff like that. I just didn't know if I didn't know if. Was it there just because it's the end and we need to wrap that storyline up, or they just wanted Jack to have the same, not temptation, but that same kind of like somebody is also interested in him. You know what I mean?
I think you need that at the end. Yeah. Cause like, is he going to do it? Is he going to go that far just because she did it or he thinks she did it?
Right.
I think that you need Jack to be the one to tell her off though. You don't need Caroline to come in. I think you need Jack to go in. Jack to be like, listen, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Because Terry Gard did that to Martin Mull's character.
Maybe that's what I'm tripped up as, is that it wasn't his moment.
Yeah.
And he needs to say like, no, I love my wife. Absolutely.
The whole movie is his movie overcoming things. She overcame her thing. So he's got to overcome. I mean, obviously he's the main character. He has more to overcome, but it is his thing to overcome.
Definitely think that was a little bit of a misstep there. that's probably why I wasn't a big fan of it, because I was like, because of what you said. It needs to be him. Absolutely. So the other thing I wanted to bring up, because my wife and I were having this discussion while the movie's going on, the scene when she leaves to go to the big trip, and Caroline's leaving and it's Halloween. Mm-hmm. And then he kind of they have the fight where he's like bringing up the fact that, hey, what are you doing? You're not here when you're here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My wife was like, that's a little unfair of him to do that right before she leaves. And I'm like, well, maybe it's built up. Maybe it's been like this and he hasn't had a chance. So like, I'm curious what you thought there.
I thought that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last straw. So you were going to spend Halloween with the kids and you're not. Every other scene we saw her, she gets home late after the kids are asleep.
Right.
She's working on stuff even when she's away, when she does get home. So yeah, I think it's built up and like, you're all of a sudden her going on this trip is last minute. So it's not like this is a planned trip. And he's like, he's mad. He's upset.
Yeah.
Because she's missing all this stuff. And he lists all the things that she has missed with the kids.
And my when we were talking about it, we were fighting. We were just talking about it. My response was like, what if there was a reverse? What if he was leaving for a trip and she wasn't? Like, if she says it to him, is that fair still there? Like that kind of stuff. Like we were just talking about. So I thought it's an interesting, like you kind of the shoes in the other foot kind of thing. But then again, like, is it, like it's still not fair, but it's still kind of, it's weird. It's like a weird kind of,
I mean, it sucks that it's
moment.
right before the trip, and yeah, it's upsetting. And she's like, "Oh, can we talk about this after?" But he's so like stressed. It's like, is there going to be an after this?
Right.
Yeah, I think I thought his concerns are valid, and I get that it's upsetting, but at some point it's all got to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think she was out of line calling him fat and all that stuff. Like, I was like, whoa, even Elise was like,
that. Yeah. Like, well, again, it's the 80s, but like but I like it. I'm going to go sleep on the fat couch if I can get through the door.
If I can even fit through the door. Why don't you, when she goes, why don't you try Porky? And then she's like, whoa.
It's pretty bad. It was like, ooh, like if the roles were reversed, like it would be,
it would be super.
But again, it's the 80s, and so that people weren't sensitive to that stuff, but people just said it more.
I do like his comment about his beard there in that scene, though. Look, you don't like the beard? Is it the beard? Listen, it's not there yet, but when it comes in,
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
and then she's like, Orson.
Yeah, what do I look like? Yeah, who do I look like? Orson Welles. Oh, I get it. Put on a few pounds. Yeah, all right. Yeah. So I thought that whole thing was interesting, and definitely, I know eventually we're going to get to us just doing lines from the film, but before we do that, I had two notes. Well, I had two notes in terms of the inspiration for this film. One was that John Hughes, I guess, had a disastrous experience with his when his wife went away and he was stuck with his two children. Or not stuck, but he had to take care of his two children. And like Donner he told Donner, and she found it hilarious, or Schuler, excuse me. And it would be a good movie. She's like, yeah, it sounds funny to me. So he wrote the film, blah, blah, blah. But then I heard it was also about the other producer from the movie, Loring, who had this situation where she was an actress when she was growing up. She quit to take over, to be a homemaker, if she wanted to be a full-time mom. Her husband lost his job and she went back into acting so I don't know who's to believe, because these notes are from different people.
Right.
But I guess there's some inspiration either with Hughes or Loring, whatever. So,
maybe what we're saying is that there's a little Mr. Mom in all of us.
Oh, man, that's the tagline. But again, Mike, okay. So Mike, let's give me your one of your favorite quotes in the film.
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, I really like, you don't give chili to a baby.
Yeah. They all leave. They'll just the house.
They run away.
So I always like the line when he in the dream sequence and they get shot, and he's like, "Tough luck, Jeff," and he's like, "Jack, you bet." I always thought it was tough break Jake. I always thought he said tough break Jake. So when he says tough luck, Jeff, I'm like, God damn, I'm getting the line wrong all these years. But I like tough break Jake. I think that works better. So I want to go back and reshoot this scene.
200, 201, whatever it takes.
220, 221. Yeah, 220, I guess, is a reference to building code. That's what he's saying there. But yeah.
And then she has the same thing where it's like 365, 365, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Or like she says, what'd you use? 38, 39? Yeah, whatever it took. Yeah, exactly. It's Jack. That's it. Those are the lines. That's the only line you like.
I mean, you said my favorite lines. I mean, those are.
Well, give me the other lines you like then.
All the lines in the fight we were talking about.
Right. I mean, I love his stuff with Jinx when he's like fighting for the job, and then he's like, "If you ever talk to my kid like that again, I'm gonna knock you out." Yeah, and then he does. So I thought that was interesting.
I like the whole Rocky conversation at the beginning. I totally forgot about that. Rocky. So I was watching Rocky. Oh, which one? Was it the one where he loses the fight? The one where he wins? Was it the one with Mr. T?
Is that the Mohawk guy with the Mohawk, Mr. T?
Wait, was his mentor alive or dead?
He's trying to. Yeah.
Forget the Rocky reference. The whole point is when you get knocked, you get back up again.
He never saw Rocky.
I also really like this, like Christopher Lloyd strangling Jeffrey Tambor. After you fired him, after everything these guys have given you, after everything they did, you're furloughed too. I'll kill you. And he goes out to strangle him too. They got to get him off.
Yeah, or when I like when the Christopher Lloyd character Larry, he's like, oh, there's only one more thing I want. What's that? Disability. And he's trying to jump out the window. I'm just like, oof. Or when Joan and I think it was Annette, when they're waving about a Jack, and she's like, he's married, and she's like, so were we once. I was like, oh God.
What does Kenny say when he's watching the soap?
Right. Yes. He's watching the soap opera and they're talking about
who's the father.
Right. And what did because he says something, because because he's a skunk and she.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Vivian's a skunk.
Yeah, and I can't remember his line, but it's like they're watching it with him. I mean, soap operas were big back in the day. They're not as big anymore.
There's not as many of them anymore. Now they're all canceled.
I know.
Oh, here we go. Kevin's about to find out the test results. Kevin's a skunk. Yeah, but Kevin gets all the girls. He sure got Nikki.
Absolutely. So Leonard Maltin Butler stated that it was, quote, pleasant enough rehash of age-old sitcom premise, and adding, quote, likable stars make it palatable, but you've seen it all before, end quote.
I agree with that.
I just don't know what he's referencing because I'm trying to remember movies back then that dealt with middle America, people, families.
That's probably what he's talking about.
But like where TV sitcoms then maybe? I mean, maybe because it's Aaron Spelling, maybe he's referencing that kind of stuff.
Is it too down to earth for Leonard Maltin? Is Middle America too boring for Leonard Maltin?
It is.
It's like, all right.
I'm elite. Roger Ebert, your favorite, described Mr. Mom as, quote, a lost opportunity, quote, end quote, for resorting to cliches rather than finding humor in the characters as portrayed by the promising and talented cast.
I know he's dead. I really don't care. I don't think I like Roger Ebert. I don't think I like this man. A critic's
job is to critique a film.
No, yes, but not to hate on a film consistently. just to get your quote and just to act like you're a holier than thou attitude is just like, I couldn't do it. It's like, I couldn't do it, so I'm going to critique it. And you're like the guy from Ratatouille. Yes. You're like the critic from Ratatouille. So I really don't care. Like
ego.
Yeah.
Egon. Jesus,
like,
Michael.
It's just like, come on. It's just, you can't, if you hate then if nothing's good, then nothing's good. Then like, I don't know.
Wow, Butler hating on Roger Ebert.
He hates
Roger
on everything
Ebert
else.
hates movies, according to Butler.
I can't stand people that are, I hate contrarians, and I hate people that hate on things just to hate on things.
Well, they are out there, and that's just something.
And they're miserable people that deserve to be called out for being the miserable people that they are.
Are you a miserable misanthrope about films? Contact Mike Butler. He would like to yell at you. So, Mike, who we suggesting this to?
Surprisingly, a lot of people.
You think so?
I didn't think I'd be able to.
Families, or not like, let's say, not like a 25-year-old, but somebody who's like maybe 37, 36, has 3 kids, 2 kids, I don't
have any kids, and I still thought it was really funny, and I could relate to it and put myself in his shoes.
That's a fair point.
I do think it would be lost on people in their 20s, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
people haven't really settled in.
Right. I think, like I said, I think how I came to it, or in terms of my reaction to the movie, was I remember growing up in that era, but also now having children. I think the two things, you know what I mean?
Combined.
Yeah. I think if you're suggesting it now, I think you're probably going to get a more favorable reaction in terms of people that are starting families or have families than you would maybe somebody who doesn't know. But I think the humor is the humor, and the comedy works. I think you need to understand it's a film from the 80s, so you understand like what the norms were back then. So this kind of like role reversal thing is a bigger thing back then than it was now.
Right. But I don't think it's not anachronistic, but like too out of its time. I don't think it's a movie that doesn't work because it's in the 80s. I think that a lot of it.
I think it's both. I think it's of the time, but the themes and the comedy holds true throughout because it's about family.
And the idea of like just your spouse, whether they're a male or female, just being able to navigate, like the breadwinner is sometimes not always home, and it's just that bothers people as well. And I think that still resonates today.
There are tons of commonalities in the thematic elements of this film that, despite the makeup of a family that are raising young children, can all relate to. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah. So I guess, why is it forgotten then? Because it's so old?
I think because it's so old. I think that it's so old that it's not on TV very often anymore. And even if it is,
a shame.
I don't think
it's a PG film.
I don't think people my age. Yeah, it's a PG film, but I think it's before PG-13 came out.
I don't care. It's still a PG film. It counts. It still counts. What part is PG-13?
What
part would be
any of the stuff where he's getting hit on?
Oh, come on. That's fine. That's fine.
He drinks a lot of beer.
Okay.
There is some swearing that wouldn't be in a PG movie nowadays.
They don't say the F word. They just say
that would be rated R.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've moved past the point where, I mean, the curse words are everywhere. My kids know them, and I didn't teach them, but like, they know 'em.
Listen, I've been watching movies like Alien since I was a kid, I'm not the guy you're talking.
I would really love like TNT or TBS or some of the FX, some of these channels to just slot out like maybe 2 hours or 4 hours of content where it's the older films that we don't see anymore. That would be awesome. But
I think that hurts it, and I think even if it was on cable, no one has cable anymore. Mr. Mom's not getting pushed to the front of the Netflix queue. And I'm going to bring this up because I finally got Netflix back for a day.
It's back.
Then it went away the next day. Because I don't.
Thief.
It's not my own. But you go through the queue, you go through the title cards. None of them are old movies, and most of it's garbage. And it's even the good stuff that's on Netflix. Like you were saying, Hitman's good.
Mm-hmm.
Stranger Things obviously good. Peaky Blinders was on there, but that's only because it's already on my watch list.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much garbage, and there's more reality TV on that front page than ever as well. It's tough. Like we were talking about, there's no way to get like an end cap of like these people's top pick and this top pick. And we've it's been a few seasons since we brought that up, but that's what these streamers need is like this, like
maybe we should do that.
This queue of like, hey, yeah, the end cap kind of stuff of like this stuff is good and recommended.
Put it on the website,
stuff like that. Yeah, and keep swapping it out.
Yeah, we can change it every week or change it every.
Use poster images or something.
They see the mechanism working there. Yeah.
But I think that stuff is like that's a shame because movies like this would get hidden, and I think that if there was a way to bring them up or a podcast that you could watch that talks about them, that recommends it to you. But yeah, I think that's part of why it's gone, because it certainly isn't because the comedy works. We talk about the acting's good. Michael Keaton's still out there making stuff that's popular. The Founder, everybody talks about.
Founder's fantastic. I mean,
Birdman, everybody talks about.
I love
Beetlejuice, everyone's talking about. So it's not like Michael Keaton's out of style.
Beetlejuice yet.
What I'm saying, well, it's about to come out when this comes out. But also, it's not out of style.
Not even the Founder. Like, if you want to watch a great movie that he's in, that is Spotlight. You should watch Spotlight. That's fantastic. You never seen Spotlight?
That's one about the.
That's about when the boss. That's when the Spotlight was a section of the Boston Globe when they released the truth about the Catholic Church, and the priests that they were hiding that were molesting young boys and young girls, and it's just about. It's like a news story, so it's like they're trying to discover the truth. A lot of great people out of the film. Michael He's obviously in that film too, so that's another good film. But yes, I agree.
So I just think that it's just not out there for people to just watch.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. Yeah, I would recommend this to anybody. I think that likes comedy, likes Michael Keaton, has a family. It doesn't matter if you have a family or not. I think somebody with a family would appreciate it a little bit more, but because it's just utter chaos when you're raising kids. I've been there.
I love when he has the he's making his own lunch. Can I make lunch? Sure, as long as it's not something.
Yeah. When he's
down in the basement, like
he just tells him to go. Yeah, he just tells him to go.
As long as it's not something.
I
don't remember, but he's like making the chili. You want to taste this chili? Absolutely not.
And he points to the door.
And he points to the door. Where is it? It's here. And then the next shot shows the chili still all over the door as well. It's
so
like,
when Jack is making dinner for Caroline, the dinner that she doesn't show up for, and he's making the wok, and he puts that. What is that he puts in that?
I'm pretty sure those are like the Vietnamese noodles, like those really spongy noodles.
So even now, back then, I was saying to my wife when I was watching this, ever since that movie and I saw that, I've always wanted that because I was like, oh, that looks good. And I've never had it. And and again, it happened again the other day. We're watching. I'm just like, why have I?
You've never had those before?
No.
They're kind of flavorless, but they're fun to eat.
That's what I'm saying.
I've never made them before. Now that I know they cook up like that, I'm like, I want to try that.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to have those, because I was like, wow, that's awesome. I want those. I don't care what, I just want
You got to go to like a Vietnamese or pho restaurant and stuff like that.
That means I got to leave. I got to leave.
Sorry.
Mike, where can I find us?
You can find us at Forgotten Cinema Podcast or Forgotten Cinema Podcast.com, or you can find us on wherever you're listening or watching us right now. Wherever you are, please like, rate, subscribe, comment. All that stuff does help the channel grow. And if you want to help us further, you can join our you can join our Discord. If you join for free, you get access to our Discord where you can talk movies with us. And if you want to support us, you can join over our tiers. You get early access to episodes, exclusive voting power, exclusive episodes only available to Patreon, like our lead up series. And we have a merch shop you can visit as well if you want to support us there, and just keep watching our videos. We appreciate everybody who watches week after week. It means a lot to us.
You're gonna cry.
Thank you.
So, as we said, this was the our Mr. Mom selection was our Patreon choice. So this was the this was our last regular show for this season, because as you know, it's the end of September. So next week is Mike's favorite time of the year. Let's see if I can do this right. Let's see if I can get this going here. Boom! Right, Forgotten Horror 6. Fear the Darkness starts next week. That's right. So that's next week's episode is going to kick off 6 episodes of the October season. So we have 5 Wednesdays in the month, and we're going to have a bonus episode for Halloween. It's going to be out on Halloween. I don't even know when Halloween is this year. I think it's like maybe the Thursday or Friday, or
we're filming way in advance, so we don't know.
We'll figure it out. So next week we'll kick off Halloween. Excuse me. We're going to kick off Forgotten Horror 6, Fear the Darkness. We're going to be doing a movie, a relatively new movie that I've been trying to get Mike to watch for a while, because I said I think it has elements from the 90s horror films, and that is Malignant. So that'll be next week.
Possibly
Butler.
our newest Forgotten Horror film.
Might be. So that's Malignant next week. Forgotten Horror 6 starts. Mike, I hope you're excited.
I am.
The set will be decorated with various Halloween type things. Hopefully it'll make it spooky for Mike so he can have fun and enjoy.
If it's not spooky, I don't want it.
That's right. So that is next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week for Forgotten Horror 6, Fear the Darkness. I almost forgot the title. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema. Don't say it. That's next week. You should say it. You don't even start saying the spooky stuff. That's next week. I knew he was going to say it. I knew it.
Now I really need my Will Be.